A single father was fired from his job until a millionaire begged him to come back. Daniel Hayes had always believed that hard work was the only currency that truly mattered. He woke up every morning at 5:30, made breakfast for his 7-year-old daughter Lily, packed her school bag with the same quiet dedication he brought to everything in his life, and drove 40 minutes to his job at Harrington Enterprises, a mid-sized logistics company based in downtown Chicago. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of small moments to change lives, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness True Stories. Also, tell us in the comments, where in the world are you watching from? He had worked there for 6 years, never once arriving late, never once leaving early, never once cutting corners on any task that crossed his desk. He was not the flashiest employee. He was not the loudest voice in any meeting room, but he was, without question, the most dependable man in that building. His colleagues knew it. His supervisors acknowledged it quietly. And yet, none of that seemed to matter on the cold Tuesday morning in November, when his manager called him into the office and told him, without so much as a moment of hesitation, that his services were no longer required. The company was restructuring, they said. His position had been eliminated, they explained. There was a severance check waiting for him at reception, and security would escort him from the building within the hour. Daniel sat in that chair for a long moment, not speaking, not crying, simply trying to process the reality that 6 years of loyalty had been reduced to a manila envelope and a brisk handshake. He thought about Lily. He thought about the rent due at the end of the month. He thought about the medical bills, still sitting on his kitchen counter from when she had broken her arm last summer. And then he stood up, straightened his jacket, thanked his manager with a dignity the man clearly did not deserve, and walked out of Harrington Enterprises for the last time. The weeks that followed were some of the hardest of Daniel's life. He applied to every position he could find that matched his skills in logistics, supply chain management, and operations coordination. He rewrote his resume 3 times. He attended 2 networking events where he stood at the edges of rooms feeling invisible. He sat through 4 interviews that led nowhere. His savings, carefully built over years of careful budgeting, began to shrink at an alarming rate. He started skipping lunch to make sure Lily had everything she needed. He told her nothing was wrong, that Daddy was just taking a little break from work, that everything was going to be perfectly fine. He smiled when he said it. He always smiled when he said it. But at night, after she was asleep, he sat at the kitchen table with his laptop and his bills and his dwindling bank balance and felt the weight of the world pressing down on his shoulders like something physical and crushing. He had no family nearby to lean on. Lily's mother had left when Lily was just 2 years old, and Daniel had never once looked back in bitterness. He had only looked forward, for his daughter's sake. But forward was beginning to feel very far away. It was during the 9th week of his unemployment, on a grey and unremarkable Wednesday afternoon, that his phone rang with an unknown number. He almost did not answer it. He was tired of recruiters who promised opportunities that vanished. He was tired of automated calls about car warranties. But something made him pick up, and the voice on the other end of the line was one he did not immediately recognize. "Mr. Hayes," the voice said, calm and precise and carrying the unmistakable quality of someone accustomed to being listened to. "My name is Victoria Harrington. I believe you recently left my company." Daniel went very still. Victoria Harrington was not simply a name at Harrington Enterprises. She was the name. The founder's daughter, the majority shareholder, the woman who had built the company's international division from the ground up before stepping back from day-to-day operations 3 years ago to manage her broader portfolio of investments. She was, by any measure, one of the most powerful businesswomen in Chicago. She was also someone Daniel had never spoken to directly in 6 years of employment. "I didn't leave," Daniel said quietly, because he believed in accuracy, even when it was uncomfortable. "I was let go." There was a brief pause on the line. "Yes," Victoria said, "I know. And I am calling because that decision was made without my knowledge or my approval, and I have spent the past 2 weeks trying to find you to correct it." Daniel did not speak. He was not sure he trusted his voice in that moment. Victoria continued. She explained that the restructuring that had cost Daniel his job had been the decision of a middle management team operating with more authority than wisdom during a period when she had been traveling internationally. When she returned and reviewed the personnel changes that had been made in her absence, Daniel's termination had flagged immediately. She had looked at his file. 6 years of flawless performance reviews, multiple commendations from clients, a quiet but consistent record of going beyond what was required without ever demanding recognition for it. She had then done something unusual for someone of her position. She had spoken directly to the people who had worked alongside him. Every single one of them had said the same thing. Daniel Hayes was the kind of person you built a company around, not the kind you discarded during a restructuring meeting. "I am not calling to offer you your old position back," Victoria said. And Daniel felt something drop in his chest before she continued. "I am calling to offer you a senior operations role with a 30% salary increase, direct access to my office, and the resources to actually do the job the way you have always known it should be done. Mr. Hayes, I'm asking you, genuinely asking you, to come back." Daniel looked across the kitchen at a drawing Lily had made that morning and taped to the refrigerator. It was a picture of the two of them holding hands in front of a house with a very large sun. She had written "me and Daddy" at the bottom in her careful, crooked 7-year-old handwriting. He thought about what it meant to be seen. Truly seen, not because you had demanded attention, but because the quality of your character had simply made itself impossible to ignore. He thought about Lily, who deserved a father who had not given up. He thought about himself, who deserved more than a manila envelope after 6 years of showing up. "I'll need it in writing," Daniel said. "By Friday," Victoria replied without hesitation. "And Mr. Hayes, thank you for answering the phone." Daniel went back to Harrington Enterprises the following Monday, not as the quiet, overlooked operations coordinator who had been walked out by security, but as senior director of operations, with a new office, a new team, and the full backing of the woman who actually ran the company. Lily drew another picture that weekend. This one had an even bigger sun. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Kindle True Stories, where real human strength, resilience, and unexpected second chances come to life.